Hello, math learners. Welcome to the Math Learning Lab, where math becomes clear, exciting, and yes, even fun. Today, I will walk you through the lesson percents. In this slideshow, I will tell you to solve the percents using equations and the proportion formula, tips, markup, markdown, simple interest, and so much more. So, let's get started. So, what is a percent? A percent is a special way to write a fraction with a hidden denominator of 100, or you can say a division by 100. Here is a percent symbol. You can see my mouse cursor and it is representing 27 out of 100. Minus 50% is representing minus 50 out of 100. How to solve the percent? Here is the two formulas written. The part is equal to percent times whole. This is the equation format. And the another one is writing down the proportion format, which is a part over whole is equal to percent over 100. So in the sixth grade, we are mainly using part over whole is equal to percent over 100. And the seventh grade or the pre-algebra onwards, we are using part is equal to percent times whole, where percent has to be written in the decimal. This is the equation format. So for example, what is a 15% of 20? So here you need to calculate what is part, because a number generally written after of is considered as a whole. So substitute in this formula like as done here. Question mark over 20 is equal to 15 out of 100. Then 20 times 5 is 100. And so to undoing it, I need to divide 15 divided by 5, which is 3. Here are the basic few problems to try it on. Mainly remember, the whole usually comes after the word of. Here is another word problem to try on. Martha got $75 for her birthday and she spent 40% of it at the mall. How much money did she spend? I will use the equation format to solve this problem. Here, the part I need to calculate and the whole is $75 and the percent is 40%. So I did write 0.40% times 75 and multiply together, I got $30. So she spent $30 in the mall. Here are the few problems to try on your own. Pause the video, these problems on your own and tell me your answer in the comments below. Jimmy got 17 out of 23 on the quiz. What was her percent score on the quiz? I'm pretty sure you're master in those because we are calculating percent since our 6th grade. William got 35 questions correct on the math test and scored 79.5%. 79.54%. How many questions were on the test? Here are the few problems to try on where you might not get clean numbers. Clean number, I mean to say, not terminating decimal or the whole number. So, what percent of 29 is 3? So, question 1, 2, and 3, you need to calculate the percent where 3 is a part and 29 is a whole. Same as for question 2, whatever the number is written after of is whole and the number written after is 21. Same as for 3. For 4 and 5, we need to calculate part, whereas in question 6, we need to calculate the whole because it's given 58% of what is 63.4. So of what meaning we need to calculate the whole. Few word problems to try on. There are 640 learners in a school. If 55% are girls, how many boys are there? So think, if they are the 55% girls, so what percent are the boys? You will do 100 minus 55, which is 45%. So you will do 640 times 0.45. Or there is another way you can do. Calculate the 55% of 640 and subtract that number out of 640. The second one I'm leaving you to try on your own. Addie scored 62% in a math exam. How many marks did she obtain out of 150? So guess 150 is representing what? Part or whole? Another problem. A beach store pays $11.40 for each beach umbrella. The store percent of markup is 75%. What is a markup? So there is another way to solve problem without using equation. So here I'm using proportion way, but for the upcoming slide I will solve the same problem using the equation way. So part over whole is equal to percent over 100. I do not know the part. Whole is $11.47 40%. Percent is a 75 out of 100. So here I just combine the cross multiply the shape into the orange color multiplied together should be equal to the number multiplied into the black color. So if this is the case, then to calculate the part, I need to do 75 times $11.40 divided by 100. Here I could have done proportion way, but $11.40 is not a multiple of 100, not a factor of 100. So I need to use this method. When I did it, you will get $8.55. So the total price is $8.55 plus $11.40 because this is a markup. So I need to add the base price, which will give you $19.95. Pause the video for a second and just see. In this slide, I'm using the same problem using the equation format. In the equation format, I just write down the steps as well. So a beach store pays $11.40 for each beach umbrella. The store percent of markup is 75%. What is the markup? So step one, when the prices increase or decrease, when it's increased, you need to add 100% plus whatever the change. If it's a decrease, 100% minus whatever the change. Then we are using the equation y is equal to kx, where y is the part and x is the original, or you can say y is a new and x is a old. So for this given question, 75% since it's a markup, so I added 100% to it, which will give me 175%. Old value is $11.40. Substitute into the given equation y is equal to kx. I did get 1.75 times 11.40. Remember, throughout these lessons, we need to use percents into the decimal. Another problem to try on. A store markups its inventory up by 7.5%. What is the new price of pair of shoes that had sold for $30? Start thinking, what is 30 representing? It's new or old, and it's a markup or markdown. Since the word inventory up is given, so we can think it is a markup. So the percent would be 107.5%. Then start thinking or start working on it. Question 4 to try on. Then enrollment at the Elkbridge Middle School increased 16%. If there are 1,245 students now, how many were there before the increase? Few more problems to try on. For this one, I write down the answer 70. Pause the video and try on your own and let me know whether the answer is right or not. Joey Chestnut had a bad hot dog eating contest this year. He ate 70% fewer this year than the last year. If he ate 21 hot dogs this year, how many did he eat last year? So think from whether it's a markup or markdown. What is 21 representing, new or old? And you have your equation, then you can work on it. A smartphone priced at a $450 was on sale for $280. What was the percent of the discount? So you need to calculate 280 is a what percent of 450 that you are not paying. Here's a new terminology, simple interest. The amount of money the bank pays you for the use of your principal, or the amount you have to pay to borrow the money from someone and in return you have to pay some extra amount from the money lender or any financial institution. To calculate the simple interest, we can use the formula given here, which is interest is equal to principal amount times rate times time. So P is a principal amount or the amount of money you borrowed. R is a rate by which rate you have to pay it back. And the time is a time in years. One problem for this, Maya has $50,000 in a saving account. The simple interest rate is 3.75% per year. How much will she have after 3 years and 6 months? So remember, we need to convert that time into years when we are calculating the simple interest. So here the value of P, which is a principal amount or the amount she borrowed, is a 50,000. Time is 3 years and 6 months. So 6 months is half year. 3 years and a half is a 3.5 years. You can write it down. Rate is a 3.75%. So I need to divide by 100 because I'm using a decimal representation throughout this lesson. So this will give me 0.0375. To calculate the simple interest, I substitute into the formula I is equal to P times R times T, which is 50,000 times 0.037 times 3.5. Do it out and you will get 66,562.5. Since they are asking how much will she have after 3 years and 6 months, so I this is just the only the interest I got, so I need to add this amount back to the 50,000, which will give me 56,562.50. Here are the few more problems based on the simple interest you can try on, where the time is 2, interest rate is 4.9%, and the principal amount is 5,100. Kimberly got a simple interest loan from her parents to purchase a car for $5,100. The interest on the loan was 4.9%. How much will she need to pay the loan back after 2 years? Another one. You got a job selling computers. Your commission structure is as follows: 1.5% for the first 10,000 in sales and 4.5% for everything over 10,000. So here are the two scenarios given. How much will you make if you sell 31,500 worth of computers in a month? So start thinking you are selling worth of 31,500. So which category you will go? So you will earn 4.5% for everything over 10,000 because 31,500 is over 10,000. So you will use rate as a 4.5% of 31,500. That will give your commission. Here's a new thing, percent of change. By what percent it is changing, increasing or decreasing. To calculate the percent of change, you can use the formula as shown in the screen, which is the absolute value of change divided by old value. Why the absolute value? Because if it is old is less than the new or new is more than the old, either way we have to use a positive value. So the change divided by old value times 100. So, for example, store buys a sweater for $20 and selling it for $35. What is the percent of change? So, the new value is 35, old value is 20. We take a difference of these two. If it could be the other way around, it still does not matter because we are using absolute value. So, it's a 15, old value is 20, 15 out of 20 times 100. Then it's a 75%. So, from 20 to 35, it's a 75% is changing. Find the percent change for these one. Question 1, it's a percent increase. You can easily see by looking at the problem, it's an increase or decrease. If the new one is more than the original one, then it's an increase. Otherwise, it's a decrease. So 1 is increase, 2 is decrease because, no, sorry, my bad. 2 is also increase because original is 6.35 and new is 19.45. 3 is decrease because the old is 93 and new is $70. So it's decreasing. 4 is also increase. Here are the few more problems to try on. As we do the more problem in practice, more hands-on to these, they become more easier for us. Think about it. What is the tip and the commission? Tip is a markup or markdown. Since the tip is extra amount that you are paying after receiving some services. For example, you go to restaurant, you have to tip. So find the total bill for a dinner that costs $35.22 and you want to leave a tip of 15% tip. So since it's a markup because you $35.22 is your basic bill and on the top of that you are paying 15% of the tip for the services. Sarah works in an appliance store. She earns a 12% commission for sales up to 6,000 and 18% commission for all sales in a month over 6,000. Here again we have a two categories. So last month her sales were 7,200. So think which category she will go. So she will go 18% commission because she is selling over the 6,000. So how much was her commission? So general calculate the 18% of 7,200. Here are the few more problems whatever we have done so far to try on your own. So pause the video for the few minutes and work on those. And let me know your answer in the comment section below. Feel free to go back to the slide whenever needed. Sales tax, markup. Question 6, tip is again markup, sales tax is markup, and tip is again markup. See, these are the problems for markup. So you need to add 100% to every percent. Here we need to use the change of the percent formula, which is mentioned in the slides. Thanks for watching. Feel free to post your questions in the comment section below. Please like, subscribe, comments, and share.